Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name is Dustin. I am the Fandom Traveler, and it's so great to see everyone here. Thank you all for joining. And more importantly, thank you so much for your support here in my first year of YouTubing here with the Fandom Traveler. It's been an absolute blast, some great feedback, some guidance, some support, and it really just goes to show that when you work with the community, it all comes back to you tenfold. So it's great to be with you guys here today. Today, we're actually going to talk about a lot of things. In fact, I think it'll be a lot of fun for us to go over what we did during the course of this year. I think, to be honest, this was maybe the most travel I've done in a single year in my entire life. And so I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. A lot of that got documented, and most of that made it into the YouTube channel. So we'll go over a review of those amazing places that I visited over the course of 2025, as well as share some stuff for next year, like what's coming next, what's new for this channel, and what can you look forward to and be excited about coming forward in 2026. I think we will also make a little bit of time for Q&A. We are recording this live, and this is the first time we've done a live stream here. We're live on both YouTube as well as our Facebook page. So hello and welcome to everyone who's here in both of those spots. It's great to see you guys, and I see some of you have already commented in the chat, which is fantastic. Some familiar faces from one of my other podcasts. Thank you guys for coming over. It's really nice to see you there. And of course, if you've got questions about the Fandom Traveler and what it is that we're going to be doing over the course of 2026, which is going to be a fantastic year. It's going to be an amazing year. It's a big year for movie anniversaries and the things along those lines. But let's get started with just a few things. And one of the questions I get the most often when I meet folks who are subscribers or viewers or just know that I am a YouTuber, when I meet them in person, one of the things that they ask is, why did you start a YouTube channel? Like, what was the goal of starting a YouTube channel? Are you trying to be an influencer? Are you trying to be famous? Are you trying to be Mr. Beast? Well, there's just one Mr. Beast. And no, that's not the goal, actually. I realized that for quite a long time, actually going back to, I would say, even high school. When I left high school, it was my intention to be a film major. And at the time, I couldn't really figure out how to make that work and work in movies and in film, even behind the scenes. But now that technology is so much easier with YouTube, with cameras that are handheld that have fantastic resolution, and with the editing tools that are very quick and helpful, it's a lot easier to make videos and bring them out. So I thought about this actually a couple of years ago. Now, why did I start the Phantom Traveler? Well, some of you who are here in the chat today know that this is actually my second YouTube channel. Now, what you don't know is it's actually my third YouTube channel. I have one YouTube channel for a very, very old game that I was a big fan of and did a podcast for about 10 years ago. That channel is called Mega Holland. It's not super active because that community is kind of stalled out, and there are a lot of other fun games to play. But that was actually my first YouTube channel. My second YouTube channel, which a lot of you might know me from, is Wearable Fandom. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm wearing this awesome Star Wars shirt. These are action figures from this is a shirt from the Roosevelts, which is one of my favorite brands. And that channel was all about fandom clothing. And I think that might have been a little bit of too much of a niche. While I enjoy and appreciate all the support over there, it's a very specific audience. And that's actually exactly what you want on YouTube. You want an audience that knows what they like. But I need to give a little bit of consideration to how we approach the content over there looking forward, so I can figure out what to do with Wearable Fandom. Right now, it's mostly a podcast for Wear Mighty Things, which is about these shirts and about the community of folks and fans who love wearing fandom clothing. So it fits in perfectly. It's an overlapping audience. But what I noticed last year was when I went to events like MegaCon, when I went to events like San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, D23, those event trips that I made actually were the content that was getting the majority of the engagement. So while people said they liked the clothing reviews and things along those lines, they really reacted to me walking around these events. And so the Phantom Traveler was born from just an observation of, hey, this is what people seem to be reacting to. What if we gave them more of that? What if we pulled that type of content over into its own separate channel and let it go do its thing. And to be honest, I think it's worked out fantastically. In fact, we've already been made a partner on YouTube thanks to great support from friends like you who are watching this video, liking and also subscribing it if you haven't. And so I wanted to make sure that we were able to give that shout out to the folks who have supported that. And so now we're just trying to figure out like what's the right blend of content for this channel. And that leads to the second channel. Well, what is it that this channel is about? Well, it's actually about celebrating fandom by traveling, and those travels can be to famous movie locations, they can be to big events like San Diego Comic-Con, or they can just be conversations talking about some of the things that we love the most. But those first two things are actually the ones that have made up most of the content this year. And so I've taken some swings with some things that didn't work. We're going to talk all about those and all the videos and things like that. So it is awesome to see. And I see a number of folks who are in the comments. Jeff says, hi from Illinois. Hi, Jeff. It's great for you to be here. Thank you so much. Gary Marlis, thank you, Dustin. You are awesome. I know Gary and met Gary most recently in the last weekend. I saw him at a really awesome event that I'll go over in just a second. Hagglebaz says, how do you stay so good looking? Well, opinions vary on that one, but thank you so much for the nice and kind comment. And whoa, Jeff says, figure it out is one of my favorite tuxes. So for those unfamiliar, the name of this shirt, every one of these shirts that I wear and that fans of the Roosevelts wear, they all have a name. And this one is called Figure It Out. Let me see if I can tilt this back here so you can see these are all Kenner action figures that are kind of put in this nice block. Jeff is talking about having a tux, which means having shorts that match with the same fabric. Now, I happen to know this shirt was not made with those shorts, which means they had to be made special, which is awesome. You got to buy a second shirt. It's got to be probably a bigger shirt. And then you've got to find a tailor who can turn this fabric into shorts. So it's no short route to get there. So good for you, Jeff. Yeah, I'm excited that you have one of those. And I love it. John Madigan, my co-host over on Wear Mighty Things on the other channel, Wearable Fandom, says, happy to support you, brother. Yeah, thank you, John. It's good that you are here. And wow, okay. So let's talk a little bit about what did I do this year. And as I said, it was quite a year in, let's see, we want to go to, all right, this view. There we go. I'll just slide to the side here. That's good. I took some effort to put some stuff and content together here to make it a little bit easier to go over this. Now, we'll actually go over some really fun photos and some of the events that I went to during the course of this year. Afterwards, I want to show you guys some stats from the channel. So actually share the YouTube studio stats so you can see a little bit more about like what's going on here. And I'm happy to share. It's not it's not a big secret. I don't know that all YouTubers are into sharing that kind of information, but we're still on the front end of our journey here. And so it's perfectly fine to share. So one of the first things that I want to draw attention to is this banner on the front of this little document that I made here. And this actually is a really hard thing. Now, I have a technical background. And so while I can envision things that I like in my mind, often I have a challenge making visuals and thumbnails. So I was pretty happy to have this as a banner image and one that actually could focus people who come to the channel and they could see, what is this channel about? Well, the Fandom Traveler is about pop culture and film tourism adventures. And I think that that stays true and is still true for us. So let's dive in and kind of get started on our journey. Now, the first event that I went to this year actually was in Orlando. It was MegaCon, and MegaCon was a lot of fun. It was a big event. It's not the very first of the large events that that ReedPop and other companies put on during the course of the year. The first one is actually in New Orleans, but MegaCon is in February. It's a beautiful time in Orlando. It's starting to warm up, meaning that most of the days are going to be 70 to 75. Cold for Floridians, but warm for people from the Bay Area like myself. And we had an outstanding time. I went to so many different parties. This was actually the very first video that I posted on this channel, was a walkthrough of MegaCon. And that was really interesting, because when I look back, some people didn't, maybe they knew about the content from the other channel, or they had seen it, but of course it's your very first video that you post. It's not going to get much engagement. So if you're curious about that experience, you can go back and find this video in our list. And so we were able to meet a bunch of friends. Featured here in the top left is an awesome channel creator for the love of the theme parks. One of my favorite channels, actually, because he does history deep dives back into what happened in different parts of theme parks. Lots of Disney stuff, but because he's based in Orlando, he can also go into Universal Studios and tell you about what happened there. So that fits into the niche of people who are probably watching this video or interested in movie locations or things along those lines. And he's got a great editing style I just really love, for the love of the theme park. So you should give him a shout out. And we also went to a bunch of different side events. The Roosevelt really celebrates their community. And so the lower right picture there was an event that we went to hang out. And the reason why I picked this photo of the many photos that I have actually of that trip was because the guy and the lady in this, well, there's one person in the middle here on the right, but the two people on the ends next to me and to the end were actually going to Star Wars Celebration. And we had a conversation about that, because Star Wars Celebration this year was in Tokyo. So we're in Orlando talking about Tokyo. They had never been. We had a fantastic discussion about Tokyo, and it was just really cool. So that was the way that we started it off. Now, I didn't expect that we were going to get a lot of views for that particular video, but it slowly kind of crept up there. And I was just holding on, because I knew when I thought that the channel was going to get traction. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So then my next big trip right after, in fact, I was questionable about visiting to MegaCon, because it was time to visit the seventh continent. That's right, Antarctica. And this photo is actually in Argentina, in Ushuaia, which is the very bottom tip of Argentina. And that's where you get on a cruise ship and you go across. We'll talk about that just a little bit more in a second. Now, these mountains are kind of right on the border of Uruguay and Argentina. And so it's just really beautiful to see. I don't think this picture actually does it justice, to be honest. But I brought this little Astro plushed animal with me, or stuffed animal with me, to get some photos. We were using that at work because there was a contest to take Astrobot on all kinds of adventures. Well, I took Astrobot all the way to Antarctica, got photos of him with whales in the background, and there was a contest, and I didn't win anything. And I was shocked. I was pretty shocked. So, but it was all right. It was fine. Most importantly was that I got to go on this trip, which was really, really cool. Now, some of you may have heard about the passage between Antarctica and the tip of Argentina. And you can see here, I took a photo actually of the TV in the room while we were on the cruise ship, the World Navigator, which is another video that actually I made. And you go all the way down there to that bottom tip to Ushuaia. You go around, they have a nice little cruise and a little lunch, and they get the boat ready. And then you go on the boat, and then the boat, you can see, makes its way across this little tiny, it's not tiny, it takes 2 days to cross it, but it's this relatively small percentage of the screen. And you get to that, like that white tip there. It kind of looks like a tentacle kind of poking out there. And that's basically, at that point, you are at Antarctica. You are at Antarctica. And so we made our way through there. And of course, there's that part, that water, that space in between is very, very famous because it's called the Drake's Passage. And a lot of people will talk about the Drake's Passage being a very scary place. And in truth, it happens to be a confluence of a number of things: the rotation of the Earth, the amount of water there. Long story short, it tends to be a very bumpy ride. It tends to be a very bumpy ride. And a lot of people don't want to go to Antarctica because they don't want to deal with this. So there are trips where you can fly over. You can just like leave from a different location and fly and land elsewhere. And so you can kind of skip over that. If you get the chance to go to Antarctica, don't say no because you're worried about the Drake's Passage. I'm happy to expand on this and talk about this ad nauseum. It's not great and it's not comfortable, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. In fact, actually, coming back was worse for us than going because on the way back, that's when we started seeing big stacks of plates falling over in the galley, and it was quite the adventure. Now, of course, what do you see when you get into Antarctica? Well, of course, they take you, it depends on the kind of trip that you're on. We were on an expedition cruise. That means that our boat comes close to the land. They actually create and scout out a location for you. And where possible, they let you make landfall. So you're actually able to stand on the continent of Antarctica. Now, a lot of people have been to a couple of the continents. A few people have been to 5 or 6. Very few people have been to all 7. I have one continent left to go. I'm actually going to see if you guys can guess where you think, which continent you think I have not been to. Drop a comment down in the chat and we'll see who's right. And uh, so I was able to successfully get off and in multiple different days make landfall on Antarctica. I think I have a couple of photos of that here. Then they have a lot of wildlife there, of course. So you can see after you do a little bit of a tour on foot, they bring you back on to the Zodiac, and then they'll spin you around, drive you around, and then they will take you around, show you some other things. And this was one of the cool things that we saw. We just happened to go around the corner of this big chunk of ice, and here's like these penguins. It's like they're putting on Shakespeare or something like that. This clearly was Julius Caesar that they were putting on a presentation of, as you can tell by the number of people on stage. I don't know. See, you can't quite see Caesar in there, the penguin Caesar. But the point being is that it was just absolutely beautiful. And we really, really enjoyed the time that we had down there. Here's a picture of me at the top of this pretty high. I don't know if you can't really call this a mountain, but it was a pretty high precipice. You can't really see it in this photo. I'm gonna see if I can highlight it. Yeah, my cursor doesn't come up here, but in the top, in the left portion, you can just barely make out the boat that we're riding on. It's kind of back there. It was snowing. There were tons of penguins down below in this like little white area. Okay, my cursor is kind of doing its thing here. That's cool. Um, and then on the right, you might be able to see these big slashes in this chunk of ice over here. Just after I took this photo, a huge slab of ice kind of fell off, and when it falls off, it kind of sounds like a giant tree falling. It's like, and then of course you look and a bunch of ice is kind of floating down there. It's a very natural thing for the ice to fall off. Now, of course, things like global warming are making that worse, but it was kind of an interesting spot to be up here. And of course, they deck you out in everything. You've got to wear the Zodiac life jacket here. I'm wearing my big parka. I've got my ski goggles on. But wow, just a lovely, lovely view. And of course, here's me and the Astrobot. If you take a close look at the top here, there's like a little pod of whales just up above my head. And that was what I was actually taking a photo of here. Now, one of the things before they let you go back is to jump in and basically do what they call the polar plunge. And there's no way I'm going all the way to the bottom of the planet and not doing the polar plunge. And so they have divers to protect you, and they have people with cameras. And of course, this is the one that I got back. I jumped in. I was wearing a Roosevelt shirt because I thought that would be fun. And you can see these guys have me on a leash. Man, if you were asleep, that will wake you up. I promise you that you will be awake It was ridiculous. It was so cold. And then when you get out, what's crazy about it is like you still feel like I don't want to call it burns, but it kind of felt like a warmth or like contact um, on my skin in some places. It still felt like it was kind of burning, not burning. Maybe that's frostbite. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. All I know is I had a great time. And to be honest, all of this was captured in the two things. I had a walkthrough video of the boat, which was about the World Navigator, and then I also did an overview of the Antarctic of an overview of the Antarctica trip, and all of this stuff got captured in there. So if you didn't see that or you missed out on it, go back and check it out. It's in the videos here on the channel. Now, coming back from Antarctica, we needed to go back to Buenos Aires to make our way back home. And instead of going just right back, this was actually a pretty long vacation that I took relatively. I don't normally take that many or that long of vacation, but we jumped up to Iguazu, which was another maybe 40-minute, 1 hour flight from Buenos Aires, and got to go to the Parque Nacional Iguazu, aka the Iguazu Falls. This was awesome. This was beautiful. There were some scenes from Moonraker, the James Bond film, with Roger Moore as James Bond, were filmed here. There were some really awesome stuff to see. On the lower left here, you can see the falls. I was on that boat and they gave you like a life vest, and then they just drive you right up to the water. And they don't let the water literally fall on you, but there's so much of it, like you just can't see. The spray is so strong that you're just like, I didn't think to bring my ski goggles with me. Otherwise, I would have been able to see something. But had a really good time. Now, in the interest of drawing attention, I'm drawing attention to this, one, because it chronologically happened this way for me this year. But two, sometimes people will ask you questions as a YouTuber. What video did you put a lot of work into that didn't get any love? And for me, this is the one. I put a lot of effort into the edit of this video. And if you go back and check it out, it didn't quite perform very well at all. I think that has more to do with the fact that people don't know Iguazu Falls. But Iguazu Falls is bigger than Niagara Falls. Probably everybody here knows Niagara Falls, but not everybody knows about Iguazu. So you should definitely check that out. I strongly encourage people to go. In fact, if I was anywhere in South America and Argentina, I would make an effort to go back. It was incredibly beautiful. Also, the location, a filming location, and I just had a lot of fun there. I think that the performance of that video does not reflect the effort that I put into it and the passion that I had coming out of the park. Checking back in the comments here, I asked a question about who thought what's the continent I haven't been to. John Madigan says Africa. Hagobaz says Africa as well. And you are correct. It's Africa. And we're going to talk about how I'm going to check off my 7th continent probably next year. So we'll hold on to that section before we get to there. Ron adds, Roger Moore is an underrated Bond. It is true. It is true. I think James Bonds are kind of like Doctor Who's. The one that you first interact with growing up is probably the one that you like the most forever. I don't know if that's always true, because I think, other Bonds have been really good. But of course, Roger Moore was probably my first James Bond. Okay, continuing on. This is another great shot of, this is the Devil's Throat, and we're looking at it from the Argentina side. That little house on the other side of this location, that's Brazil. That's actually Brazil. So you can see the falls from two different sides. You can actually walk. Walk is strong. You can hike across them, but you've got to cross a border, so you have to make sure you have your documentation. But it is possible to see the falls from two different countries and two different sides. This is technically possible to be done in Niagara as well, but man, this was just so beautiful. Really enjoyed this. And this is actually a UNESCO heritage site, which I knew about UNESCO heritage sites. This means that they are protected places. but I didn't realize that I'd be going to more UNESCO heritage sites during the course of this year. So we'll talk about those in a minute. Now, next up was Tokyo. Now, this is interesting because this is the time when I started second guessing some of the videos that I had shot. So this is actually taken from the Starbucks Reserve Roastery in Tokyo. It was a short trip that I was there for work, but I decided to go off. And I wasn't sure uh, if that was going to resonate with the audience, and so I kind of talked myself out of making this video. I still have all the footage, and this was pre Sakura, which is the cherry blossom season in Japan. In fact, the location of this was looking over the Meguro River, which is one of, in my opinion, the best places to see cherry blossoms in Tokyo. And so I started second guessing myself, and you'll hear that happen again during the course of this video, where I went through and shot a bunch of video, but I wasn't sure if it was actually going to resonate. And so I probably put the pause on it. So it's not as if I can't produce this video. It doesn't make a lot of sense to release a video about cherry blossom seasons in the winter. So I've got to think about it. Maybe I'll go back with a different plan, but this was a beautiful facility. If you've never been to a Starbucks Reserve Roastery, even if you don't like coffee, it's still a pretty cool place to go, because they actually do roast the beans there. You can see demonstrations of that. They also have different alcohols that are available. They have baristas, they have bartenders, and they're all trying to do this like little experimental thing. And you add the fact that it's in Japan with with a Tokyo feel to it, it just elevates everything. So I don't know. I'll think about it. If you want me to just publish any weird video that I have, drop a comment in the chat or onto this video, because you're going to hear that I actually went on a bunch of places where I didn't make the videos, or I fell behind and I just put my energy towards other things I thought would probably be a little bit more resonant. So now, when I got back from Japan, I went to one of the coolest events that I actually went to this year, which was in Tucson, Arizona. I had never been to Tucson, and this event, TravelCon, was held there. As a YouTuber making content in the travel space, even though it's fandom adjacent, I was excited to go there because I wanted to learn from a bunch of other folks who have a lot more head start on me, and also could potentially give me some guidance to help me improve my overall channel results. And I had a lot of success there. So top right there, that's Matt and Nat. If you don't know Matt and Nat, you probably should go check them out on YouTube. I actually subscribe to their Patreon. I'm an actual patron that pays for content from Matt and Nat. And they're a really awesome group. They used to be musicians in Nashville, and now they're part-time YouTubers that go around. They're just a really good time, and they're just very kind people, willing to share knowledge, and they helped me think through a few things about my channel that were really, really valuable. In the middle bottom there, actually, that is an AMA with a few different YouTubers. I put that one there because my friend Chris Rainey there of Yellow Productions is on that panel as well. Now, I had met Chris in 2024 at San Diego Comic-Con. I have watched his channel for quite a long time and really appreciate all of his videos about Vegas and about traveling in Japan and elsewhere. And so I saw him walking through. I knew that he actually did a walkthrough video of San Diego Comic-Con every year. And so we happened to bump into each other, and then we ended up with cameos on each other's channels. And so when I made a little bit of a switch and pivot to move into the travel space, I reached out to Chris. I knew that he was going to be there. I knew that he was going to be speaking. And so that made it that much more of a fun trip for me as well. More about Chris in just a little bit. So I got a lot out of TravelCon, made a bunch of new contacts, got some really great guidance from people who are in the multi-hundred or millions of subscribers. In fact, I also met Mark Walters of Walters World, and I'm positive if you're watching this, you've probably seen a Walters World video. Mark's got 1.3 million subscribers. The YouTubers are just all normal, cool, regular people, and so Mark was very helpful to me, gave me a lot of good advice. And of course, he's a huge G.I. Joe fan. And so we are collaborating and working on how to make some videos together in 2026. So I'm hoping that that will happen. And he's just a really cool hang. That's what I like. I like people who are a good hang. I don't. You don't have to be a YouTuber. I just want to hang out with people who are fun to be around. Now, a little bit later, after I came back from Tucson, I ended up going down to Santa Cruz, which is not very far away. And I went to a wedding. On the way back, I actually went to the mystery spot in Santa Cruz. And I don't know if you guys know about the mystery spot, but the mystery spot is kind of a famous little tourist attraction. I also shot a bunch of video here. As I was going back through the edit, I felt like I was missing some things, and so I did not release that video. I've actually kind of put that in the hopper to go through and edit. So this one will very likely get released, but had a great time. It was cool. It was fun. Saw banana slugs. And if you are, I should have thrown this image into this, into these materials, because in Pulp Fiction, when Jules and Vincent are getting sprayed down by the wolf and by Quentin Tarantino, one of the shirts, John Travolta wears a shirt that's the UC, what is it? University of Santa Cruz, and he's wearing the banana slugs on that shirt. And so it's kind of funny. It's a nice tie back to the movies to actually pull that together. John asks, have you been to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens for cherry blossom season? No, I haven't. I've been to Washington, D.C. I know that there are a bunch of cherry blossom trees that were made to the U.S. from Japan as a gift, and they have a big festival there. So I've been to that. Of course, I've been to Japan multiple times during cherry blossom season, but not yet to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens. Sounds like something I should put on my list. On the right-hand side is a place we're definitely going. We're definitely going to make a video of this. And I wanted to go there to make sure the place was still open. That's in Pacifica, and that's a Taco Bell on the beach. And I'm not joking. Like the water, it's basically like the beach. You could sit there and then you walk out. You can just go into the water. The water's cold here in Northern California. There's pretty much no place that you want to be in the water without a wetsuit. But here's a Taco Bell right next to the beach, and it's super cool. And they updated it. When I actually first moved here, I remember biking on the highway that's right in front of this place. If you go a little bit up the road here from here, there's a place where hang gliders will launch. They'll actually just jump off, and like, so that gives you an idea of like where you're at here. But they actually remodeled it into a Taco Bell cantina, which means now that they have like some light beverages there that are alcoholic or semi-alcoholic, good stuff. But we're going to go back and we're going to actually visit the Taco Bell on the beach, because it's a pretty cool thing to do. And man, I just imagine if I was big into surfing, that would be such a fun place to come back and get cheap eats after, a morning of surfing. Then I went down. Oh, hey, there I am wearing the same shirt. This was, I think, in early May. I was invited to be a consultant. I was on a advisory panel. That's probably a better thing. That's actually more accurate. This was at Full Sail Real World Education. And the behind us in this is actually a virtual set, which is going to change how movies are produced. But I was asked to come down and share some opinions on the curriculum that they have for some of their degree programs. I took advantage of that opportunity and went over to Disney Springs, where I made another video that was a lot of fun, and got to walk around and show what the shopping was like. They also have the boat car there, which is something that's really awesome in that video. If you missed that video from Disney Springs, go check that out, because you can see the car that drives into the water and then becomes a boat. It was actually a really cool thing to see there. Had a really good time. Also meeting with some other friends, Vacation Request, which is a faceless YouTube channel that covers cruises. It covers a lot of Disney and Universal stuff. So if you're interested in those things, you should check out Vacation Request. Yeah, let me throw that down there as well. Yeehaw. Okay. Now, let's keep going here. Boing. Um, a little bit later in May, ended up in Las Vegas. Now, I'm just going to tell you, when you live in Northern California, going to Las Vegas is very easy. You can make the decision on Monday or Tuesday and be there on Friday. The rooms are available. The flights are plentiful, and the flights are not long. And so you're going to see in this video, I think this is one of 3 trips, and I have one more trip to Vegas yet planned this year. In fact, next week I'll be hanging around Vegas. So I love Vegas. I love going to Vegas. And one of the things that I like to do now, especially with this channel, is finding things in Vegas that are really cool. So there's going to be a number of those that are coming. But one of the videos that I made earlier this year was the Meow Wolf Omega Mart. And Omega Mart is super, super cool. It's an experiential art piece that has a total narrative. It's an augmented reality type of experience. And it's part of this Area 15 concept that's a little bit north of the Strip in Las Vegas. There are a bunch of other locations. There's a John Wick experience. I wanted to go to that, but they won't let you film in there. So you have to go in, have the experience, and just talk about it. So I wanted to make a video, but they wouldn't let me record there. So I just sort of passed on doing that. I also checked out Netflix Bites, and this was one of the experimental ideas. I was like, well, this is a fandom topic. It's obviously Netflix, lots of shows and things like that. So I made a review of Netflix Bites, which if you watch the video, the news is good. I liked it. It was pretty cool. It's kind of one of those things that you just do one time in Vegas and then you go on to your other regular haunts. But Netflix Bites was a super, super cool and fun experience here earlier this year. Ron asks, what's the best airline from all of your travels? Man, well, this is a tough one to answer, Ron, because the best airline, it kind of depends on where you're going. But I would say in trips that I make to Japan, the best airline to fly is Japan Airlines. The food is awesome. The service is great. The seats are comfortable. And from here, it's like 10 and a half hours to Tokyo. And so those things really matter. Like, they keep the place clean. If you've ever been on a long haul flight, and I say that I normally fly United. But if you've been on a United flight that's 10 hours long going to London or going anywhere, those bathrooms are an absolute wreck by the time you get finished, right? There's not a process to keep them clean. Japan Airlines, probably the best airlines that I've flown. I'm sure there are others like that. In fact, if you've got other suggestions of airlines I should try, you should drop a comment down below because I would love to talk about those. Okay. Ron also adds the Omega Mark video was really cool. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hagelboz says there's a Roosevelt's meetup at the end of January. Yes, I am thinking strongly about attending. So maybe I will see you there. Yes, going to watch The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. Hey, it sounds like a lot of fun. All right, now continuing on, let's see. Now, the next trip was a big one. A big one. It was Star Wars Celebration. So Star Wars Celebration happens every other year. And this time it was in Tokyo. A lot of times it can be in Anaheim, it can be in Orlando. It's been in England, I believe, once. And so this time it was in Tokyo, and I was able to go. This is when the channel really started to get some traction. And I kind of expected this because it's in Japan. There's lots of Star Wars fans. They're going to announce news. There's going to be lots of exclusive stuff there and just cool cosplay, just going to be fun to be there. And so I knew that this was going to actually be a really differentiating moment. And so a couple of the videos that I posted from this event actually got close to 10,000 views. This kind of content times out after a while because there's the next event. Celebration goes away, then San Diego Comic-Con comes, then New York Comic-Con comes, and so this kind of video doesn't really last all that long. And that's something I need to think about, because while I enjoy being first to show people what it's like to be at these events, I'd also like these videos to have longer legs. I want to think about how I edit them so that they'll still be interesting to watch a year from now or 2 years from now. Like, I don't want to just build them and have them be low effort content that gets a lot of views. So open to the thoughts on that, but that's something that I'm giving a lot of thought to. How can I improve this content so that it actually will be the kind of thing that people will search for and find and want to interact with later on. Now, I had a really, really good time. It was a different part of Japan than I'm normally used to hanging out in. Yes, it was still the greater Tokyo area, but it was the other side of the bay. It was in the building called Makuhare Messe. And I just had a really great time being there. I made a killer video about all the cosplayers that I saw there. And next time 2027, not 2026 but 2027, that's going to be the 50th anniversary of the very first Star Wars film, A New Hope. And we are thrilled that this event will then be in Los Angeles. That's going to be awesome, and I have a lot of plans and a lot of thoughts about how we're going to get ready for Star Wars Celebration in 2027. Now, while I was on this trip, I also discovered something else. And this is another video that I have in my back pocket, but I've yet to finish it. The Pokemon Company actually partnered up with different municipalities in Japan to decorate some of the manhole covers. They call them Poke lids. And I found a bunch of them. In fact, I found all of the ones that are officially in Tokyo. I went around and even left and went down to a city that's very, very briefly south of Tokyo to get some additional ones. So I kind of think I'm going to turn this into a fun thing. Like whenever I go to Japan, I'm going to try to find some Pokelids. It also encourages me to go visit other parts of Japan than just Tokyo, which has been something that I have done for quite a while. So stay tuned. Maybe I'll make some of this Pokelid content available to you guys here soon. After that, I flew directly back from Star Wars Celebration, made my way down to Fort Lauderdale to jump on a cruise with a bunch of my friends here. In fact, some of the folks who are in the chat talking right now are in these photos or were on those events. So this happened to be my second of 3 cruises during the course of 2025, which was really crazy. I had never gone on a cruise before. I've been on day fishing trips where you go out like deep sea and then you just come back with whatever you catch that same day. But this was the first time I had gone on a cruise. So I went on the cruise to Antarctica. The second cruise was the Royal Caribbean cruise. And I had a really good time. This was a good time to hang with all of my friends. I did make some content for this, but it was for the other channel. And so I was just too tired to actually do a ship walkthrough. And this was a big boat. The World Navigator going to Antarctica was had 130 passengers. This boat had like 6 or 7 times that. So it was just too big and I was too tired. Like I was jet lagged the whole way. I literally came directly back from Japan, landed the next morning. I left and went to Fort Lauderdale. So had a great time on that boat and got to hang out with a bunch of friends, and somehow I made it through, but boy, was I tired. Then I got sent to London, and this was a year of first for me. So it was my first trip time to Antarctica. It was my first time on a cruise boat. It was my times 3. And then I actually, for work, had to go to London, and I ended up extending my stay just a little bit. I was able to go to the Warner Brothers studio tour for Harry Potter. And I made an awesome video of that. Another interesting one. Maybe the folks who watch this content are not big into Harry Potter, but that was an outstanding tour. This was one of the locations where they actually filmed key scenes from the movies. They had lots of plot. They had sets. They had all kinds. Of wardrobe. It was just glorious. They showed how they did the animations and the animatics of a number of the on-screen characters. It was sublime. And then I used the next several days going around looking at and making a Harry Potter film locations tour. And so that's Leadenhall Market. This was the inspiration on the right there. That's the inspiration for Diagon Alley. And this is a video that I've been working on editing for quite some time. And I intend to actually release that hopefully beginning of next year. So I went all over London, finding all of these locations. It was pretty cool. I definitely tried to improve my process, making sure that my script was good, and it just got complicated. And so it was one of these things where maybe I need to get some editing help. That's probably a good thought. Then I ended up in May. I was up in New York. I was just there for a weekend, but I ended up staying right next door to a very famous location for films. This was the building that was used as the Daily Planet in the original Christopher Reeves Star Wars movie from the late 70s, early 80s. And I didn't realize it, but it was literally next door. So I walked out, and that's the Daily Planet right there. It was sort of preserved in its original capacity. They let the public walk in and take a look around, but you can't go in it very far. You can't go past the gates. But it was pretty awesome. And one of the things that they actually have in the lobby there is a shot of Christopher Reeves, um, and is that Margot Kidder, I think, in front of a couple of the clocks there. And so I think that this was just a really cool find. Not that it was that much of a secret per se, but it was just a lot of fun. And I'm glad that we were able to discover it. I just kind of dumb lucked into it. It wasn't a plan. I wasn't looking for it. I just somebody said, "Hey, next, did you know the Superman building is next door to your hotel?" And I was like, "What?" So it was pretty cool to just walk over there and actually see it for myself. So it's really great. Now, while I was on that trip in New York, I ended up getting invited to another big community event that was in New Jersey. Now, I don't know how many of you are fans of the TV show Severance on Apple TV, but this is Bell Lab, which is the Lumon building from Severance. So I took a bunch of photos of the exterior. The exterior is what they used. They actually did film a little bit on the interiors there. So they changed it quite a bit, but the organizer of this event knew and was a fan of this show. And so they were really keen on having everybody show up and participate. The facility was awesome. Now, here's the crazy part. And just so you understand, I have now watched all of Severance. I've seen, and I'm up to date on Severance. At the time, I hadn't seen it. So I didn't understand the significance. It's one of those things where you're kind of in a place and you're like, oh, this is one of those places. Well, I didn't have the significance. Now I get it. It's a really cool show. I wish I had known that before I went there. I would have been able to enjoy and appreciate it just a little bit better. But I didn't there, but I did take some photos. And I also spent the most on a cab ride, an Uber ride back to the city. It cost me like $150 to get back to the city from this place. That's how far out in New Jersey we were. Now, bouncing back to Vegas again, I wanted to go down and take a shot at the world famous Vegas sign. I got that. And then I started looking for filming locations. The little Church of the West there, that was actually a location where Elvis, there was movies that Elvis was a star in that were shot there. And I got a few other locations while I was there, but I didn't get enough to actually make a video. And so in that case, I have pieces and parts. I just happened to be staying on the southern end of the strip that time. And so this was walkable for me. In fact, actually, I just walked down there and just did it early in the morning before it got crazy hot, and got a couple of photos there. So probably no video coming out of this one, but I'm on the look. I'm on the prowl. And there I am wearing that hoverboard shirt again that you saw me jumping into the water into Antarctica with. So there it is. Then I went back to London, and one of my favorite artists is the Japanese painter Yoshitomo Nara. And the Hayward Gallery in London actually had an exhibit of Nara. I actually have thought many times about posting this video because I don't know how many people are fans of Nara. So I have all the footage. I think I want to make this video for myself, and I'll just post it up. But I really, really like the style that he paints in. This exhibit was outstanding, and I've got more than enough content for an introductory video if you're curious about him as a painter. While I was there as well, I also took the opportunity to go check out the Buckingham Palace. Happened to go there in the evening, and I went over and walked across Abbey Road, which resulted in the Abbey Road video that I posted on the channel a little bit later. Now, that Abbey Road video is the first time that I actually worked with an external editor. And it's something I think I need to do before because I'm getting backed up on videos. I'm slipping behind, and of course, time moves forward. I don't want to lose out on the effort and the time that I've put into some of the videos, at least to get them captured. So I may actually need to lean on some editing help in the new year. But it was great to be able to walk across there, and the video that was edited, I thought was quite good. Ron asked a question. How much thought do you put into the wardrobe that you take with you on these trips? Great question. If it's a themed, if it's going to be a themed trip where I know that I'm going to be going to a specific place and I have the right shirts for it, I will bring the shirts along. So there's going to be some more Back to the Future content. You're going to see that hoverboard shirt again, I think. And so I will try to plan for it if I can. When I went to Star Wars Celebration, of course, I had all my favorite Star Wars shirts. So I do put a decent amount of focus and thought into it for sure. It's an important part. But I will also say I like to travel relatively light, to be honest. I will bring a backpack with me, and I'll bring a single carry-on, and I try to get it done with that. I don't want to bring 30 options, and 10 pairs of shoes. It's just not conducive to actually being an effective traveler in my mind. Next up was Comic-Con. Now, this was actually the point in time where I thought the channel would start to pick up steam. Why did I think that? Well, because the other channel, the first time that I actually got real traction on Wearable Fandom was when I posted my San Diego Comic-Con videos. There were multiple things that I did here to help people out. One, I wanted to try to provide value by helping people build a schedule so that they could enjoy the show a different way than they might have otherwise. If you just come to Comic-Con without a plan, you're just going to end up standing in line for a really long time, and you're going to be tired, and then eventually the show's going to wear on you. It's 4 days. It's in the summer. It's not that San Diego is so oppressively hot, but it is a lot of sun, and the sun takes the juice out of you. So it's one of the things where you need to have a plan. So I made a couple of videos about helping people figure out how to get ready. I enjoyed making those videos, and I think people got some value out of those. So I will continue to do that into the new year. I also was able to attend Comic-Con in a very, very different way. In the past, I would normally go through and do the walkthrough. I did that. But I also went and did a bunch of the installations. So I went to the King of the Hill installation. I went to the Aliens installation. I went to the Star Wars Coke installation. I tried to get into the Fantastic Four Google one, but I couldn't. That line was just way too long. But I attended and went. I went to the Godzilla install. Sorry, I guess it was an installation, but Super 7 actually had a Godzilla takeover at their store in San Diego. And that was an awesome event. In fact, actually, the Super 7 stores in San Francisco and San Diego are closed now. So I won't be able to repeat that. So I'm super glad that I did that. So I was everywhere and having a really good time. Being a little bit more of a travel generalist versus focusing strictly on like clothing really gave me a lot of freedom to just go and have fun at a bunch of different places. I posted a bunch of those videos, Doctor Who, Twisted Metal. Not all of those resonated because I don't know if people found them, but sometimes I got surprised. The Godzilla video got a lot more views than I expected. The Doctor Who video got a lot more views than I expected. Either way, San Diego Comic-Con, just a ridiculously fun show. And I have goals for next year that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Now, this is another fun thing. I mentioned Chris from Yellow Productions. Chris was very generous. I wanted to do some collaborations at San Diego Comic-Con, and Chris helped me out with them. I have a video that I've been working on that I will post. It isn't specifically dependent on time. And so that's my first attempt to try to take the transitive content of shows like this and take it out of time. And so I actually went on a scavenger hunt. And he helped me put it together, and then he actually shot the video, helping me out. So that's super fun. I really enjoyed and appreciated it. If Chris, if you ever see this video, thank you so much. It was super nice of you. I really appreciated the guidance that you gave as well. Then we had a really nice lunch, went our own separate ways. And hey, you know what? Maybe you'll see more of Chris on the channel here in the future. Also got to go to Mosh Isley while we were at the event. A bunch of these people that you see in these photos are friends of mine. The biker scout, boy scout, and the punk trooper. I know those guys. Of course, I'm in this photo, and the people right around me as well. It's lightsabers. It's a lot of fun. It's great emo punk music. I don't know if you can see it, but up on the stage to the left of the punk troopers, there's a Chewbacca with a headband. There's a guy who has a Millennium Falcon as a base. If you get a chance to go to Mos Eisley, they have them in a few places. They'll probably do one in Orlando for MegaCon. They'll probably do one again for San Diego Comic-Con. They did one year for New York Comic-Con, but I bet that's really expensive. So I don't know if that's coming back. But if you're at one of these events and Mos Eisley is available, go. You'll sing. You'll have a bunch of fun time. You can get a lightsaber. You can just have an absolute blast. Highly recommend Mos Eisley. All right. Now then I took off and went to Montreal. Oh my gosh. So this was another first. So now, of course, I've been to Canada a few times, but I had never been to Montreal. I didn't shoot content because I was just there for a day and a half, but I did get to go into this really awesome bank that's been converted into like a coffee place. It's a very historic building. You can see all of the ornate decorations in here. Now, I mentioned at the top of this cast that I actually was originally a film major. Well, before that, back when I was in 9th grade, I was an architect major. I wanted to be an architect. And so whenever I go to buildings like this, I love seeing all of the fantastic decorations, and really the fact that, you know, this building's been around for 120 years, which makes it really, really cool. And so I wanted to just take a shot of that. On the right-hand side is a piece of the Berlin Wall. And I think that is a super cool signal, something that we should all be quietly reflecting on in the state of the world today. So no videos came out of this other than me going to a place where a guy made fresh noodles. It's ridiculous. I literally watched the guy make the noodles in front of me that I was going to eat. He asked, how thin do you like them? I didn't know what he exactly meant, but I was like, you know, I gave him a number. I think I gave him a 6 or a 7 or whatever. And then he basically threw them in there. So you can get everything from like a vermicelli or an angel hair to like a thicker udon type noodle. Really delicious. Really enjoyed that. And of course, the fact that it was made fresh right in front of me was pretty freaking awesome. After that, I was off to Amsterdam. That's right. And we did make a video actually in Amsterdam. This is not the best time to be in Amsterdam. The spring is the best time. That's when the tulips are out and about. You can enjoy them. But did make a walkthrough video of the early summer. This was a very different video for me because normally you'll hear my voice. Even if I'm pointing the camera in another direction, I will voice over and narrate. And this time I was like, you know what? Let's try something different. Just going to walk back from where I was working back to my hotel and stop and take a look at some of the cool stuff there. And it was a really fun video. I actually enjoyed it. Just trying a bunch of different things to see what works. Now, John asked a really good question here. He says, do you find it harder to find places to go out and eat in other countries because you don't eat meat? Well, as John says, I am a vegetarian, not a vegan. I like cheese, which makes me a very popular person in Amsterdam. Do I find it hard? Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. I'm also a little bit of a self-proclaimed, but everyone around me agrees, picky eater. And so that makes me a little bit of a tricky hang when it comes to trying to coordinate where can we go. So if you want to go eat the weird thing in Japan, probably I'm not the best person to invite to that. If you're going to eat something plain and regular, well, then I'm probably your guy. So sometimes it can be hard, but I don't think I find it too hard. In fact, sometimes I'll just go to grocery stores and just buy the ingredients of what I want to make, and then I'll just make the food myself and eat it instead of going to a restaurant. After Amsterdam, I had a little bit of a break, which was kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting that. And I wanted to start doing content around San Francisco. So that's where I live. San Francisco is in a lot of movies, it's been in a ton of films. In this first picture here, you see the Painted Ladies. This is one of the most iconic shots from Full House. And you can see it was a typical overcast day here, which is why the colors aren't popping. But we also have other cool things here, like the cable cars. We have a Nintendo store. And so I thought about it and I was like, I've got maybe 6 weeks before I had to go anywhere. And so ultimately, I wanted to start producing a bunch of that kind of content. And so I have that. I have captured a bunch of that. I'm going to be making more. And so you'll start to see that stuff rolling out in the new year. Then I went on cruise number 3, and I mentioned I went from 0 cruises in my life to 3 cruises in 1 year, which turned out to be kinda crazy, to be honest. This time it was on, Virgin ship, Virgin Voyages. Uh, I wanna say it was the Painted Lady, but I'm not quite sure if that's the original name of the boat. This one actually went down to they don't actually have a private island, but they share one with Resorts World, which is the same casino that's in the north end of Vegas Strip. This was a really awesome cruise. I got to be honest. The first cruise went to Antarctica. The second cruise, I went and hung out with friends in Bahamas. The third cruise, we kind of like went out and just putzed around out of Miami. And I can say that this cruise had the best food for sure. Had a lot of great um, modern kind of sensibilities about the different restaurants. I liked how it was all set up. I really enjoyed Virgin, so I absolutely would go again on a Virgin cruise. I don't think I would not go on the other cruise. Like there are some people who are, how do we describe them? Loyal to Royal, which is like Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean is great, and I think I enjoyed the cruise that I went on with friends. I was jet lagged, so I probably wasn't able to like really, really appreciate it as much as I would have if I was better rested. But by the time we ended up getting onto this Virgin cruise, it was really cool, and I love the fact that they give you a little wristband, and everything is done with your wristband. Now, what's my claim to fame on the Virgin voyages? I won trivia 2 times. They have actually like trivia. I won trivia 2 times, and that was pretty outstanding. People were like, "No way, you guys didn't win again." Yes, we did. After that, it was back to New York again for New York Comic Con, and again, this was a big burst. I think it's not just the fact that New York Comic Con is a big event, but it also happens to come at a time of year where things are starting to quiet down for the year. So I was there a little bit early. I went through Times Square, posted a video of just my walkthrough of Times Square, which I thought was really fun. Something to see. I also got to go to a concert there for a band that I had really wanted to see for a long time, but I never knew that they were when they were going to be around. They were down the street from my hotel. So I was just like, I'm going. So I went and saw Toad the Wet Sprocket, which is a band that I knew from my younger days. And then, of course, spent a lot of great time with friends at New York Comic Con. I shot this show a lot differently as well because of the fact that I was doing much more general stuff. And I think the view counts reflected that. People were thankful that I took the time to walk through. It turns out that I got a lot of compliments on the directing my camera, because some people, like, I guess, move too quickly and they just make people nauseous. We also got to meet that crazy Galactus, and I don't know why I didn't pick a photo of him to stick on the slide, but we met this Galactus. He's like 13 feet tall, his cosplayer. We interviewed him on the cast. My friend John Madigan here in the chat was the one who held the camera while I tried to interview those guys. It was super, super fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And man, that was quite outstanding. After that, I went back to Japan again, and this time it was for a 9-day trip. And normally when I go to Tokyo, or no, let me rephrase that. Normally when I go to Japan, I'm going to Tokyo. That's usually what it is that I'm doing. And so this time it was actually really cool to be able to um, was really cool to be able to actually go to some different places. And so I went to a number of different places this time. The top left photo there is actually outside of the Tokyo station. That's one of the oldest hotels in Tokyo. Across the top there, that's Fuji-san, Mount Fuji. A lot of times when you go by Mount Fuji, it's very foggy and cloudy. You don't see Mount Fuji very well. Then here in the middle bottom, this is from Kamikochi, which is the Japanese Alps. It was quite beautiful. Really enjoyed it. So visited Nagoya, Kyoto, Osaka, and then went ultimately to Fukuoka. On the right-hand side now, this little girl, this little anime girl, is actually a really interesting character. Her name is Haiji. Haiji is the Japanese name for this character. It's Heidi, like the girl from the mountains, except this particular Haiji character was illustrated and animated by one of the two founders of Studio Ghibli. And so Miyazaki is the one that you know, while the other one is the guy who directed, and now my brain has just slipped his name entirely. So I guess that's just the way it's going to be, unfortunately for me. But after making Haiji, they went on to found Studio Ghibli, which resulted in My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away, The Wind Rises, like so many amazing and famous classics that are known, are also available, I think, on Disney Plus. So I have a whole video coming up about Haiji and this awesome location here. So I think you guys can look forward to that in the new year. We also continued on to Kyoto and the famous Torii Gates on the left. And then, of course, one of the big things, I was there visiting with my my youngest son, and we're both big fans of sumo. I've not mentioned that so much here on this channel, but I am a big sumo fan. I've been a fan of sumo for 5-6 years, and being in person to see all of these wrestlers that I'm used to watching on video was super awesome. They were available. Some of them were around. Some of the more famous ones were actually standing around outside and were willing to take photos. It was really, really cool. And I got to be honest, I just really enjoyed that. Now, Ron says, what was your favorite thing that you ate? I'm going to assume that you mean in Japan. My favorite thing that I ate in Japan. Well, I'm going to be real basic. I'm going to be real basic with you, Ron. I love Koko Ichibanya, which is a Japanese curry place. They are kind of a chain. They have one in Los Angeles. There's one in Waikiki, also in Hawaii, on Oahu. And I just love eating there. I love why? Because they've got great rice. They've got this delicious curry. They have vegetarian options. I don't have to fight or guess if it's vegetarian or not. And I'm a big fan of spicy food, so they let you pick your spice. And so Koko Ichibanya is my favorite. Now, my Japanese coworkers and friends laugh at me and make fun of me because they're like, what are you talking about, dude? This is ridiculous. But in fairness, that's the thing that I love to eat the most. And if you're wondering, in a 10-day trip, I ate there twice in Japan. So I might have been wasting or squandering my visit to Japan for those of you who are foodies, but you know, I'm just basic when it comes to that. Continuing on, I went back again to Vegas, and this was I started and did the video capture for filming locations, especially in Caesar's Palace, which was really cool. I also captured the Bellagio holiday setup and went to the Friends Experience. The Friends Experience is probably the next video that I'm going to post after this live stream. The Bellagio video is already up, and then the filming locations in Vegas, it's going to take me a little bit more time, but ultimately I am pretty confident that we'll be good. And then lastly, Fan Expo in San Francisco. Now, this one I listed here. I didn't have to travel. I just went down the street. I don't live very far from where this event is held. They had a big focus on Godzilla there. So I posted a couple of the really cool Godzilla paintings there. Christopher Lloyd and Claudia Wells were also both present from Back to the Future, which was really, really awesome. It was it was just a really cool um, location. Now, let me see here. Question I have for you guys. Is my face covered up, or do you guys see me clearly in the in the camera? Because I'm wondering, do I need to step over here, or do I need to step over here? Oh, I'm covered. I'm covered. Okay, I'll just switch. I'll just do this. This should help out quite a bit. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. So what I'm looking at is not covered. So if you, so that's going to be fun to watch for people who weren't here to see it live. Thank you for raising that point. I want to go to my left. How about to the bottom left? Um, so the Fan Expo was outstanding. It was really cool. And it's right down the street for me. These videos actually got a lot of traction, a lot of compliments. I was quite surprised, to be honest, by the fact that people were watching, and ultimately really enjoyed these because they were pretty quick and easy videos to make because I didn't have to get on a plane and go anywhere. And you know, that was quite a bit of fun. Thank you guys. Yep. Let me see. Maybe what I want to do is this. Okay. All right. So we'll do this. We'll see if this works. I changed the layout. Now let me know if this is better. All right. And then the last thing that we did was went to Burbank, and I was there actually for a different reason, but we did a Back to the Future filming locations, which was pretty cool. Top left there, we went to Marty McFly's house. The owner was really cool. Lower left, that's the Gamble house, which was Doc's house in Back to the Future. And then on the right, I went to the Burger King there where Marty sketches after leaving Doc Brown's workshop in the morning for the first time. Pretty cool. I had a really good time. That's going to take a little water. Slide to my right a little. Okay. How's this? No, no. Come on now. I'm waiting for it. Yeah. I changed then moved. All right. Let me see. Now I want to go over here. That's funny. Okay. That's funny. All right. Well, here we go. That's great. There we go. So now my face is covered, so I can actually not see my face, but I didn't realize it was mirrored. So thank you. Yeah, you guys should have told me earlier. I didn't notice it until just now because on my screen, it's like looking the way I think it's supposed to look. Makes me wonder. Okay, cool. Well, we'll just keep going on. And then, of course, the main reason why I was down um, in Burbank was actually to attend the Jolly Holiday from D23. This is an event that they do every year. It's quite fun. It's one that the Roosevelts attends. They actually had some exclusive shirts there that I was able to take a look at and pick up. And just to be honest, it's just fun to be down there. Burbank is a very, very dense filming location. And so, as somebody who is a screen tourist, it's very easy to go to places when you get down there. Now, you got to drive around LA all the time, but driving around LA all the time is not so bad, especially if you don't have to do it every single day. So, there we go. Thank you. All right. So, what's next in 2026? Well, we're going to continue bringing you guys uh, lots of conventions, lots more movie locations. That's something that I want to spend a lot of time on. I'm building, in fact, actually, for the break, one of the things that I'm trying to do is create the list of events that I will attend during the course of 2026. So so there are going to be a bunch of really interesting ones. In fact, I will share and I'll switch over to this view. Does anybody know or recognize this? What's behind me? What this location is? This is actually the City of Arts in Valencia, Spain. And it's actually been used in a bunch of things. It was used in a couple episodes of Doctor Who, but it's probably best known most recently as being the the Legion of Doom headquarters. I like the Legion of. I like that. That's a great answer. Nope. This is actually this is actually the Imperial Senate in Andor. Andor was actually filmed here. And so one of my goals for 2026 is to actually do an Andor tour, top to bottom, starting in the north of the UK and then going all the way down to Portugal and Spain and going to a bunch of those locations. So that's one of the actual um, that's actually one of the events that I want to attend. Now, there's going to be a lot of really cool movie anniversaries that are happening next year. Top Gun turns 40 years old, and San Diego is a hotbed of filming locations there. So I'll definitely be looking to head over and check that out. So there'll be more conventions. I'm not committed to doing the same exact convention. So I will say New York Comic Con is lock. San Diego Comic Con, also a lock. MegaCon, maybe MegaCon's a big event. I like it, but I may not go to MegaCon this time. So I'm thinking maybe Toronto. I want to try a few other events that I haven't been to in the past and be able to bring some different looks. Because to be honest, a lot of these end up being the same. I like that New York Comic Con is not the same. I like that San Diego Comic Con changes as well. Denver might be on the list, Ron. So we'll take a look at Denver as well. Okay. So then one other big thing that I want to one other big thing that I want to let you guys know about here, and I guess I will say um, after this next one, I would love to take any questions. So if you've got questions, we can move into a live Q&A. And if you don't, okay, great. Well, then, we've had our year in review. But before I show you like the stats on the channel, I want to leave you a chance for you guys to ask a few questions. But what's the big announcement that I actually want to make before we move on? I want to announce that we're going to start a new podcast actually from this channel. And this is what it's called. It's called Let's Set Jet. For those who are not familiar, set jetting is the term that fans of screen tourism use. We're set jetting. We're literally getting on a plane and flying to the set of Jaws, of Back to the Future, of Star Wars. So I'm actually going to start a podcast around this because I found a really awesome community of people. There's lots of people to learn from, and there's lots of events to actually promote. For example, there is an event not that far from me called the Forest Moon Festival in Humboldt County. That's one of the filming locations for Endor in the original Return of the Jedi film. And so they actually the local film and tourism um, um, commissions put on these events every year to try to bring people in. And so I want to attend some of those events because I think we're going to meet a lot of really fun people. I think we're going to learn a lot about those locations. And if it's the kind of place that you would like to go see, it makes it very easy for you to end up um, there. So I've already got the first podcast episode recorded, and we'll be doing that during the course of the year. So I'm very excited about that. Look for that in the new year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Now let's transition over into questions, Q&A. If you've got any questions for me that you're just dying to know about, whether they're about my travel preferences or just something you want to know about the channel, about YouTubing, etc., now is your opportunity to ask. In the meantime here, I'm going to get my audience stats ready here so you guys can see the behind the scenes setup here. Okay, let's see if this will work. Okay, great. It works. Okay, couple of great questions here. Hagelbaz asks, "What are your travel hacks?" I travel a lot, so I have a lot of I have a lot of them. Um, I think the main thing is I'll give you one, and then maybe if you guys are interested enough to hear more travel hacks from me, I'll maybe do a special episode about that, or maybe I'll do a special live. But number one, never check your luggage unless you have to. And I think that's one of the things that I have benefited from the most. It's a great tip. Um, there are many, many, many travel hacks, but don't check your luggage if you don't have to. So, what does that mean? Well, it means a lot of things. It means having a bag that you can take on board with you. It means taking advantage of the different uh, statuses that you might be able to access from credit cards so that you can board early to guarantee that you can bring your bag on. There's a lot of times the people are on the Frontier Airlines and they can't bring stuff on, and they charge you or pay extra. There are lots of ways you can optimize for that. So don't check bags if you can avoid it. You just don't want to be without them. And you know what, to be honest, if something happened, you'd want to be able to leave with your luggage. If you had to disembark, you wouldn't want your luggage waiting for you elsewhere. Maybe you need to change clothes, or you need something out of your bag, right? So you just don't check your bags. Like, that's basically, and especially don't check your bags if you're going to Orlando. So that's a really great question. When is the best time to visit Japan? Asks Kevin. Kevin, the best time to visit Japan is there's two different times, and it depends on why you're going. But if you're just going to see kind of the main sites, I would say going in March, you'll be able to catch the cherry blossoms. Now, that's a high season for them tourism wise. And to be honest, it's not just about international people coming to Japan. The Japanese really love going around and seeing the trees themselves. So they actually travel a lot as well throughout the country. And you'll see in the weather reports during that time of year, they'll show you what the blossoms are doing. So obviously, the colder the area is, the later that those trees will likely blossom. And so you can kind of travel from the south to the north up to towards Hokkaido and still see blossoms at a multi-week clip. So that's the best time. Second best time to go, October, November. The heat is gone. There's lots of festivals that are happening. It's a little bit quieter time, like calmer time. So I would definitely say mid-October. And if you're going for snow or things like that, you want to go to Nagano and you want to ski, or you want to go to Hokkaido, obviously I would have a different answer. But for the main kind of thrust, the central of Japan, of Kyushu, of Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, which is the main kind of triumvirate of places people tend to go for tourism, those are the months. March to first week of April, and then October to November. Have I been there in the summer and the winter? Yes. And did I like it? No, did not. Okay. Ron asks, what's the location you'd like to travel the most to that you haven't yet been? I have not yet been to Australia. That's a place I'd really, really like to go. I also have not been to Tunisia. And so, coming back to the question of like, how do I check off the seventh continent? Tunisia actually has a bunch of Star Wars tours where you can visit Tatooine, locations that were from the original Star Wars and things along those lines. So I'm going to try to see if I can do that, so I can check the seventh continent off my list and get some great Star Wars content for you guys at the same time. So those are the two on my list. Ron, what's your most complimented shirt when traveling? Wow, this one is actually really interesting. Most complimented shirt. For a while, the most complimented shirt was the pink Nightcrawler Banff shirt. It's very loud. You can't miss it. You got to be a tough guy to wear a pink shirt, some people would say. And so it just pokes you in the eye. You cannot not see it. That's just kind of how it goes. So I think that one, I think the Crane Game shirt for the Roosevelts also has been quite heavily complimented. But I think I would have to give it to my Ratatouille shirt, which is the one that people seem to recognize immediately and get excited about. So that is pretty cool. Um, okay. Do you find it tough to balance time on these trips between spending time with family, friends, SOs versus your shooting schedule for content? This is a great question for anybody who is a YouTuber. Um, yeah, I guess it's a lot of, it's got to be at least a little bit annoying, to be honest, to travel, because when I'm shooting content, I can't just walk through and have an experience. I have to wait for people to get out of the way, or I have to get the right shot, or I have to go back and get something that I forgot. So it can be a little redundant and a little bit slow. So I think that that probably balances out. But yeah, like I said, this is probably the most I've traveled in any year. So this is not the norm. Um, the This is not the norm for me. It's definitely not um, that I travel all this much during the course of most years. But what I do is I try to make good use of the time. When I'm on a plane, I'll try to edit videos if it's possible, especially if it's a long trip. I have like a rhythm of how I travel and how I actually adjust to the time zone, which is a whole other travel hack to share with you guys at some point in the future, maybe. So I would say I like to go to a bunch of places. Now, so yeah, I don't think it's too bad. In fact, usually I'm traveling with people who give me the space to do this kind of stuff and are supportive, which is great. But yeah, it can. I'm positive it's a little bit annoying that I have to go back a couple of times, or I have to wait. You spend a lot of time waiting for people to get out of the way. So here's an ask for all YouTubers: like, get your picture and then beat it. Beat it. That's the way that I would say. Let's see. Hagelbaz, I know he's talking about Australia, saying that's a continent, so I'm short too. I think Oceania is considered a continent. It is the continent of Oceania, which is inclusive of New Zealand and of Australia. And I have been to New Zealand, so I check that box, my friend. Okay, road trips. Do you have any road trips? Well, I don't own a car, but I do take road trips around California. I want to take some additional ones soon, but I'm thinking about it. I'm actually thinking about doing some road trips. I think it actually could be a lot of fun, um, going on some iconic filming locations. There are some places in the Midwest that I want to go to that are not super easy to get to, and so I think it really comes back to what's exciting. So if there's a place or a location that you really want me to see, location, by all means, like, drop a comment or send a message, and I will definitely um, check it out. Now, one more thing that I want to also send you guys over to is to check out our website, fandom.travel. That's a web page that I actually built and set up. That gives you an idea of like what we're doing here at the Fandom Traveler. I'm going to continue to develop and bring that along. I'm also going to add a mailing list for people so you can get an insight on what I'm up to. People have asked if I intend to set up a Patreon or something like that. I haven't been motivated to do that, to be honest, so far. So I am just getting started, but you can check out fandom.travel and you will see what we're up to. Okay. Let me see. There is one more question. Jeff says, no car. You must have a huge Lyft or Uber monthly charge. Not really. I mean, when I go to the airport, I can take public transit, but it takes 45 minutes and it's a little bit extra dodgy. So I will pay for Lyft and Uber going there. But most of the places that I need to go, either there's public transportation within San Francisco, or I can walk there. I to be honest, I don't overspend on Lyft and Uber. We also have Waymo. We have Waymo here, so I can get an autonomous car. I didn't mention it, but I did a video on Waymo. If you're curious about what it's like to ride in a self-driving car, check out that video on the channel as well. And last question here for now. Do you have something that you try to collect everywhere you go? That's a good thing. That's a good question. The answer is no. I used to try to get like little rocks that were like appropriate for the location. So I would get like some type of uh, pumice or jade or something like that made sense. But I kind of, then it meant I was collecting a bunch of rocks. What I do try to get for my mom is a spoon. My mom has like a collection of spoons from different locations. And so if I'm anywhere new, I will definitely look for one of those spoons. Yes, maybe like the cheesy one in the airport where it says location, you're in Montreal. I'll try to get one of those spoons for her because she really likes to collect those. But no, I also do not collect much. All right. Let me show you a little bit behind the scenes. I'm going to show you guys information about the audience here of the channel. Well, let's see. Okay. So this is kind of interesting. So we don't have, we have like 600 and some odd, but this is when most people on the channel are actually active. And so these are very helpful for people because this is when you might want to publish. So many of your YouTubers are watching on Sunday at 9 p.m., which is great. This is the kind of thing that, if you're wondering like when do some of the videos show up, I use this as a guide to actually try to figure out like when do I want a video to go live. And you can see most people are not around at noon because, people are working. What are some of the things that your videos watch? Well, this one's kind of not super useful. You can see that nobody watches lives. This is also why I haven't done a live before now, but I wanted to do one for a year in review. And so I think it was really cool to be able to do that. Now, this might surprise you guys. Well, let's go this way first. Subscriber bell notifications. Subscribers who turned on all notifications for your channel. Hey, go turn on all notification for the channel. You can see only 11.3% of people do that. So please go do that. It's free. And anytime I go live or anytime I post a new video, you will not miss it. So please do check that out. Now, the device type, I think, is kind of interesting here because you can see here, 75% of people watch on TV, 15% on computer, 6% on mobile phone and tablet. But if I switch across and look at videos, you'll see 75% here, but look at shorts. Shorts mostly get watched on the mobile phone, which is not a surprise to me. Now let's go down to top geographies. Doesn't surprise me that most of you are from the US. 81% of the video users are from the US. And then you can see an equal number of people in India are watching my shorts to the United States. How about that? How about that? Now, when you look at watch time, most people are not subscribed. So a lot of people, 97% of people who are watching are not subscribed. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, come on, man. Go down there and subscribe. Hit that subscribe bell. We did get monetized this year, but you don't start getting clips of that ad revenue until you have 1,000 subscribers. So I appreciate all your support and help. And of course, those kinds of funds are the ones I rely on to pay for me to get around to places. Here's the age and gender. You can see predominantly male. I guess that makes sense. Let's check videos. No, 100%, 100%. You rarely see 100%. 100% of males look at the shorts. And then if you look at the ages, you can see it kind of age distributes from 25 to 34 all the way across 55 to 64 with a little bit of folks above that. So those are just some ideas of what you can expect if you become a YouTuber. Those are kind of analytics that might be helpful. Hopefully you find that interesting. But yeah, I think it's been a really fantastic year. And to be honest, I cannot say thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Yes, I'm going places, but I'm having fun. And I'm hopefully trying to create conditions for you guys to have fun also as well. So thank you guys for all the comments, all the likes, the subscribes, etc. For those of you who have thrown some tips in, if you didn't know that, you can do that as well. Thank you guys for all of those. It's made a huge difference in my energy and enthusiasm for what we're doing here for the channel here. And I'm looking forward to a very, very successful 2026 with all of you here as well. I'm very open to everyone's input. So if you've got ideas or thoughts, if there's a video you really would like me to see, if there's a place you'd like me to go, drop me a line. You can send it to hello@thephantomtraveler.com and I will respond to you. It goes directly to me. I would love to hear from you, or just drop a comment down below. Let me know what it is that you think is good and working, and I will be happy to react and hopefully bring you to the bring you to the place that you're asking for. So I think, yeah, with that, we are going a little bit longer than I thought, but it was really fun. I'm glad that we got to talk about the origins of the channel, how that came to be. I got to walk you guys through some of the big trips and remind you of maybe some of the videos that you didn't see yet. And then, of course, give you an idea of what we're doing in the new year. I'm very excited about the podcast. Let's Set Jet is going to be amazing. And my intention is to do a lot of Star Wars locations in 2026, including those in the UK, in Spain. And I've never been to Spain before. So I think it's going to be exciting to go to Spain, especially to see some of these incredible filming locations. Maybe Tunisia. Maybe I will check that seventh continent off, in addition to all of the great events and shows that I already have locked in San Diego Comic-Con, and of course, at least New York Comic-Con as well. D23 will be next year as well. So if you're big into Disney, I had a blast at D23 last year. I fully intend to go again this year as well. So it's going to be a fantastic year. I hope you guys are having a wonderful and restful holiday. I'd like to remind you that the credits may roll, but the adventure never ends. And so we will see you guys in 2026 with a lot of new locations, a lot of new videos, and that brand new podcast. So long, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.